What's up everybody, Manny from Motomillion here, and today I'm going to show you guys the completed Motomillion Streetfighter V4. I could officially say that this bike is done and it's here for your viewing pleasure, so let's get into it. Right up here, the biggest change on this bike is this Öhlins fork. It's all blacked out and it's utilizing Motocorsa's famous fork legs. And a little bit of the details are the TWM caliper spacers. It goes with the red on the Brembo. We have our Ducati axle sliders in the front. We like these because they're plain and simple. Goes on with the theme of the bike. Down here we have the Brembo T-Drive rotors, and the party piece on this bike is the Marcassini Racing forged magnesium wheels. And never forget, you need radiator and oil cooler guards. We utilize in the Ewotech Performance radiator and oil cooler guards. It cleans up the look and also gives that protection that we want on the bike. Up here, so you'll see throughout the theme of this bike that we've changed all the plastics into carbon fiber. The lower headlight fairing, this little piece, was plastic and it's now carbon, and also the inner headlight fairing, which is this piece that surrounds the headlight. We've utilized some matte carbon fibers on the parts that we don't want to stick out too much, and one of them is this one, the instrument cover by Ducati Performance. While we're up here, you've seen this because this is familiar to you. I've done a video on it before, but the handlebar setup, this cleaned up the look of the bike completely. The only stock part is this handlebar right here. Everything else has been changed. Starting off from the middle, we have the Ducati handlebar clamp. We use some of the silver bolts from Prototype, the titanium bolts. These Motocorsa reservoirs, these integrate into the RCS master cylinders. There's no hoses running around. It's super simple and clear. And these MotoGP inspired switches by WRS, I love the looks of them. We call them Skittles, M&Ms, whatever you want to call it. And right here, this was also a plastic piece that we've replaced with the billet piece by Ducati. This helps it protect your electronics that are in here because it was plastic before, especially if you strap these bikes down from the handlebar, it has a tendency to break. Also, one piece that was custom made for this bike are these billet bar ends. These are weighted bar ends that was made by TWM for us so that we could mount the aero mirrors on there by CRG. The weight of it helps us get rid of the handlebar shake that this bike has, because there was a little bit of buzzing when you remove the stock bar ends, which are pretty weighted. And right up here, the full 6 tank cover, or some people call it battery cover because it covers the battery, and under here we have an anti-gravity lithium battery. The Öhlins damper, pretty stealth, doesn't stick out anymore. This fits the V4. The V4S, guys, you need to get a plug to disable the code for the electronic throttle that you have. And the TWM fuel cap, almost all our bikes have this. Not almost, but all of them do. You press down, quarter turn, opens up, you put some fuel in there and you're good to go. And we have our tank pad by Ducati Performance. This is the Solar Tail by Full 6 Carbon. And down here, the NRC rear turn signals with the integrated lights. We love these things. They're pretty much the best in business. That's why we do not deviate from using them. They've never let us down. The greatest part is that, as you see, the lights are bright, they're wide and big, and you could easily tell if someone's turning right or left. And that's very important for us on the bikes, because at the end of the day, these are street bikes. We ride these on the street, and that's what we mainly focus on, so that we could bring you the best street bike experience that you can have and not compromising anything. Again, there's a lot of carbon fiber on this bike everywhere you look. So like I said, basically everything that was plastic has been changed. These rear subframe covers under here, the undertail piece was all plastic. These are all carbon now. And right down here we have the Termini slip-on system. It is the vocal cords of this bike. One reason that we went with the Termini system is that we wanted a clean look. Like I mentioned, this is a street bike. No one on the street is going to turn around and say, hey, this bike is not making enough power, I need a full system. Even so, this Termini is very impressive. It's only shy 2 to 3 horsepower of a full exhaust system, but the best thing for me that stands out with this exhaust system is not only the sound that it gives you, that classic Ducati throaty sound, but if you look, the lines of this exhaust matches the subframe lines, and aesthetics are very important for me, especially if you're building a street bike, because this bike performs well on the street. It's comfortable, you know, it's got the looks, it's got the sound. And right here, speaking of the sound, we got the dry clutch by STM, the Ducati Performance Dry Clutch. It is a controversial topic, but I think it's a quintessential piece of a Ducati or a modern Ducati or a classic Ducati, because Ducatis were known for that dry clutch sound. It's covered by the Ducabike clutch cage cover, which has a slider right here, and it has this air scoop. So as it is a dry clutch, it needs a lot of cooling because it's not cooled by the oil anymore. As you see, it has a big wide open area over here which flows a lot of air. Usually we've seen the dry clutches last around 2,600 to 3,200 miles on a bike that doesn't have an additional cooling for the dry clutch. On these bikes we're seeing now with this air scoop, we're seeing almost up to 4,000 miles of use of that clutch. If you happen to wear down the clutches, it's such an easy thing to change on these bikes. It's a very low cost maintenance item. Back over here, Motocorsa billet engine mount. We've tried to clear up the side of the bike to make it as clean as possible, and this really helps because this was a big silver piece. And talking about some of the black pieces that we have is this Motocorsa integrated rear reservoir mount. The reservoir used to be mounted over here with a big black tube going there, and we did not like that, so we cleaned it up. We've kind of modified the full 6 reservoir mount over here. It's carbon fiber, it holds all these brake lines in place to give it that clean look. Right back over here, we have the Ducabike rear sets, and in front of it, for cleaning of purposes, we use the Motocorsa rear set mounts. They're nice and black, they go together with all the theme that we have going on here. Even back here, this giant piece of the inner fairing was all black plastic, now it's all carbon fiber. And when you stand back and look at this bike, I really, really love the look of it. Again, it's that black and red that we've done with Ducatis in the past. And also the gold wheels. This gives it that classic Ducati look, the Ducati SP look from the back in the day that we've seen. And if you swing around over here, another thing that we've done on this bike is put a 520 conversion kit. We have our Sita 520 conversion kit with utilizing some of the Ducabike parts and the drive system parts. The drive system part are these cush drives that are titanium, dressed up with the Prototype titanium nuts. And we have the Ducabike billet sprocket carrier. We're using the TWM nut and the new Ducabike clips here. That's black, usually this is silver. You could also get it in red from them. We have our EK3D chain that we use almost on every single bike that we build. And in the front, we're obviously running a lightened front sprocket. And we have this full 6 sprocket cover as well in carbon fiber. And also if you look down here, this piece by Motocorsa, the rear set mount, this is a giant piece. This was all silver, and it helped us clean up the look and unify all this area in black and billet aluminum. Right back here, we have the full 6 carbon fiber rear swing arm cover. This is a clip-on piece, and we love it because it clips on from the bottom and utilizes 2 of the bolts on top to put it in place. No glue needed. The frame covers are by full 6 carbon. We glue these on. You could double-sided tape them, but when you glue them on, you could really, really get them super close to the frame. It becomes the second skin on the bike and gives it that clean look that we're looking for, unifying all the carbon fiber throughout the bike. One thing I forgot to mention is now all these bikes have these fancy screens. We use the Shieldotron screen protectors. We always forget about talking about them because it fits so perfectly. The size is great, and you could barely tell that there's any screen protector on there. One other piece, there's so many pieces on this bike that it's easy to forget. The Olinx TTX GP rear shock. The Olinx suspension has been a big upgrade to this bike, especially since it started as a base model. We didn't want to deal with any other electronics, so we bought the bike as a base model since everything changed, because with an S you get the electronic suspension and Marchesini forged aluminum wheels. We were changing the wheels and the suspension, so it doesn't make sense for us to start with an S because we have to deal with the electronics and defeating them. But here it is. This is the Motomillion Streetfighter V4. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. And I know you guys want me to start this thing and hear it roar, so let's go ahead. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your support. Have a great one.